Hello boys and girls, today's video is going to be all about subtraction, kind of the opposite of last night's video about addition, but let's launch in, let's get started with it right off the bat. So, to share my screen. Alright, today we're going to be focusing on that new movie that came out over the summer, Inside Out. I have not seen it yet, but I've heard really good things. So I got some data, some statistics for you here. This first number, the 386,187,430 dollars. That's how much it made in every other country other than America, and $348,219,280 is how much money it made in just America. So I'm curious to see how much money it made more in other countries than in just America. So the way that we're going to do that is subtraction. So again, just like in addition, you can't subtract very well going across like this. So we need to reline it up so we can do it up and down, which is also called vertical. So if I'm lining this up, and same thing like in addition, I like to work backwards then once I have my first number. So the 0 goes under the 0, the 8 goes under the 3, the 2 goes under the 4, the 9 goes under the 7, the 1 goes under the 8, the 2 goes under the 1, the 8 goes under the 6, the 4 goes under the 8, and the 3 goes under the 3. That just helps me line up my place values like I said in the last video. So now we're going to start taking away. So 0 minus 0 is 0. Now 8 minus 3 minus 8, we're going to run into a problem there, because if we're looking at me right now, here's 3 fingers. If I have to take away 8, 1, 2, 3, I can't do it. I don't have 8 fingers to take it away. So let's go back to screen sharing. So I'm back to screen sharing now. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to go next door to this 4, which is worth actually 400 because it's in the hundreds place. I'm going to cross that off, and I'm going to bump that down to a 3, which I'm going to give a group of 10 over here, which makes this now a 13. Now I can take 8 away from 13. That's 5. 3 minus 2, I can do that. That's 1. Bring my comma down. Now I can't take 9 away from 7. Same thing that I was showing you with my fingers. I just can't do that. So I need to go here, ask to borrow some. He says, absolutely, we're all friends here. So that becomes a 7, and this becomes a 17. 17 minus 9 is 8. 7 minus 1 is 6. I go here. Can't take 2 away from 1, so I go over here, and this becomes a 5 now. This becomes a 1, or an 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. Whoops, let's make sure that's clearly a 9. Now, see, here's a case where we're going to have to kind of do what I call double borrowing, because we've already this has already been involved in borrowing. Can't take 8 away from 5. You just can't do it. So over here, that becomes a 7 now, and now this becomes a 15. So occasionally you'll have to cross things out more than one time. 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 minus 3 is, or 7 minus 4 is 3, and 3 minus 3 is 0, so I can just leave that blank. Now, just like addition, before you're done, you need to check, and you use the bottom 2 numbers. And you always, with subtraction, need a bigger number on top, so 348,219,280 minus, and now this is when it's going to be helpful. Make sure you're going backwards. So 0 under there, 5, 1, 8, 6, 9, 7, 3. And it's not minus, it's actually addition because we're doing the opposite operation. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 5 is 13. If you remember from the addition video, you can only put 1 in, carry it up. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 9 plus 8 is 17. 7 goes down, carry up the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8. 2 plus 9 is 11, 1 down, carry up the other 1. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 7 is 16. carry up the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8, and 3 by itself is 3. Now let's go back and check that my numbers match up. Let's use yellow. I've got 308, I've got this number and that number match up, that number and that number match up, and that number and that number match up. So I know I'm correct. However, there are some special cases. Subtracting across 0, and this is how much it made on the week of July 31st, which is my birthday, and this is how much it made the second week after my birthday. So sometimes when you subtract, you're going to see a bunch of zeros in a row. So if we're trying to take 5 away from 4, we can't do that. So what we need to do is go next door, and we see that there's nothing here to borrow, so we go next door. There's still nothing to borrow, and we go here. And now he has 1, so we can take 1 away, so now that becomes a 0. This becomes a 10. But if we go back, we still need some there. So we borrow from him. He becomes a 9, which makes that become a 10, which now that becomes a 9. And now finally, we were able to borrow and do that. Now we should be good for a little bit. So 14 minus 5 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 3 is 6. 0 minus 4, well, we can't do that. So we need to go next door. That becomes a 0. And now this becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 7, you can't do that. Go next door. And now this becomes a 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1. Not quite done, because again, we need to check it with these two numbers. So let's see if I can fill that in here. 2704 395. Going backwards to line it up. Make sure that's clearly an 8. Let's add these up. That's a 4. Carry the 1. 10. Carry the 1. 10. Carry the 1. 11. Carry the 1. 15. Carry the 1. And now go back and check that they match up. This matches with this. This matches with this. And this one matches with this one. So when you're subtracting across zeros like I had done right here, just make sure that those become 9s because you have to borrow from them. This might be a part of the video where it might be very important for you to rewind and make sure you have a solid understanding of that. That's something that 4th graders sometimes have a hard time with. Now it's time for you to practice one, and then I'll walk through it. This isn't the one you bring to school, but I'll be checking on your notes for this one. So solve this one and pause your video now. Great, you should have solved it now. So let's set this up. 3,567 minus, going backwards now to make sure that their place values are lined up. All right, 7 minus 2, that's easy, you can do that. That's a 5. 6 minus 9, you can't do that. So we go over here. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 16. That becomes a 7. Now I can't take 8 away from 4. So this is one of those cases where we're going to do one of those double borrows I was talking about. That becomes a 2, and this becomes a 14, 6, and now 2 minus 2 is 0, so I don't need to write anything there. But I'm not done. Got to check. So I take these two numbers, 2,892 plus, because it's the opposite of what we are doing there. I think I forgot to say that on the last example. 2 plus 5 is 7. 9 plus 7 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. Plus 6 is 5. Carry that. And 3. Let's check to make sure they all match up. I see a match there. I see a match there. And I see a match there. Always make sure you check. If they don't match up, you might need to go back and do your original problem. But which brings us to the end of our video here, which is the one that you are going to solve and bring to school. I need you to make sure that you check this with addition as well. I do see right here that there are going to be, whoops, not right there. I do see right here there are going to be double zeros, so you're going to have to subtract across zeros, which means you might want to rewind. Make sure you have a really solid understanding of the special case subtracting across zeros. But make sure you pause your screen now, and good luck.